All right, today we're going to do dividing decimals by whole numbers, which you guys are kind of good at, which we found out when we did that taking you out to lunch activity. So to start off, go ahead and put your name and the date. The first thing you need to know are the parts of long division. So we know we have a long division problem. It looks something like this. For the sake of this, I'm just going to put 5 and 2 and 35 hundredths. So this number that you have inside this division tent, that is called the dividend. And this outside portion that you're dividing by is called the divisor. So if you wanted to put here like 5, and if you wanted to put here 2.35, that way you remember which is which. Okay, so you have your divisor and your dividend. You're going to do long division like normal. So I'm just going to ignore this decimal for right now. 5 can't go into 2. Can 5 go into 23? It sure can. Since I'm starting above this 3, my first number is going to go right above it. So 5 can go into 23 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. When I subtract, I get 3. I check 3 is less than 5, so I know I'm good to go. I'm going to bring down my 5. 5 can go into 35 7 times. 7 times 5 is 35. And when I subtract, I get 0. So pretty much just like normal division, which most of you guys probably remember from 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. We still have to deal with that decimal though. The decimal in a division problem is going to be directly above the other one in the quotient or answer. So if this is our decimal, in our quotient, the decimal is going to go right above it. Kind of like with with adding and subtracting where you bring the decimal straight down. Here we're going to bring the decimal right on up there. Again, you can use estimation to figure out if your answer is reasonable. Let me give you a word of caution though. When you are dividing by decimals, sometimes you're going to get a number that you're not quite used to. For example, here, 2 divided by 5. That means if I had 2 cookies and 5 friends, how much cookie will each of us get? Well, 2 divided by 5 doesn't really go in evenly. You would all end up getting a portion of a cookie. This tells me you get about half, a little less than half. If I added halves 5 times, I would come up with 2 and 35 hundredths. So estimation for this one, like I said, sometimes can be a little tricky. You often, when you have bigger numbers, it works a little bit better than having like these 2s. All right, I did put a little reminder here. DMSCB, divide, multiply, subtract, check your answer, bring it down. That is the steps to long division. If you're having trouble with long division, please, 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 when you finish with this video and finish your homework and your reading, make sure you get online or find a game you can play or practice with a parent basic long division problems because it's going to make your life easier. All right, so here we have 20 and 7/10. Remember this long bar here means divide by, divided by 9. Notice here I said divided by. That makes this part my divisor, the thing I'm dividing by. So my first number is the number that's going to go under my division tent, which might have a more professional name, but that's what I like to call it. So my 20.7 and 9 on the outside. All right, I'm going to do long division like normal. 9 cannot go into 2. 9 can go into 20, however. Since I'm starting with the 0, I'm going to put my number right above it. 9 goes in 20 2 times. All right, that's divide. Multiply. 2 times 9 is 18. and I subtract. 20 minus 18 is 2. 2 is less than 9, so I know I can keep going. If my number was bigger than 9 here, I would know that my answer isn't right and I'd have to go back and look at it. But since my 2 is smaller, I'm going to bring down the 7, so now I have 27. And 9 can go into 27 3 times. 3 times 9 is 27. And when I subtract, I get 0. Now that I've done long division like normal, I need to go back and put my decimal in. My decimal is going to be directly above the other one, but it's going to be in my quotient. So if my decimal is right here, it's going to come straight up, kind of like a kernel popping in a popcorn bag. And I'm going to end up with 2.3. If I want to look at estimation here, it's going to be a little bit more of a realistic example rather than this one. So here, 20.7 rounds to about 20 or 21 actually. 21 divided by 9, I know that's going to be somewhere between 2 and 3 because it's between 18 and 27. So this is going to give me a reasonable answer. All right, as always, I'm going to ask you to pause it. If you don't pause it, you're not helping yourself any. And then we'll try this one, and then I'll do it with you when you come back. All right, if you're having trouble getting started, let me give you this clue. The first number is your dividend, because this says 22 and 1600ths divided by 7. And whatever you divide by goes on the outside. So if you were having a hard time and your problem doesn't look like this, stop the video, make your problem look like this, solve it, and then hit play again. All right, 7 can't go into 2 because we're going to divide like normal. 7 cannot go into 2, but 7 can go into 22. Since I'm starting above the 2, I always put like a little X or something here to remind myself. It goes in 3 times. Now I'm going to multiply. 3 times 7 is 21. Next is subtract. When I subtract, I get 1. 1 is less than 7, so I'm good to keep going. I'm going to bring down my 6. 7 goes into 16 2 times. 2 times 7 is 14. When I subtract, I get 2. Again, 2 is less than 7, so I can keep going. Bring down my 1. 7 can go into 21 3 times. 3 times 7 is 21. And when I subtract, I get 0. Just snuck it in on that line. I gotta go back and put my decimal in though. My decimal is gonna be directly above, so it's gonna pop right up. And I'm gonna end up with 3 and 2300ths. Now, if I rounded, 22 and 6100ths rounds to about 23. 7 can go into 23 between 3 and 4 times. This number falls between 3 and 4, so it checks out. All right, you guys, you only have 6 problems today. They're all pretty straightforward. Good luck.